Hey, it's Dan, your biker in the kitchen. Gonna do a little wrenching project today. Really, this is a pretty simple thing we're gonna do, but I think people think it's complicated and it seems complicated, so I'm gonna try to simplify it a little bit for you, maybe make it so that you'll want to do it too. I'm gonna add a USB port to my handlebars so I could charge my phone and other accessories while I'm riding. And to do that, you need to remove the seat and the gas tank, and that's a daunting thing, I think, for a lot of people. So this video also, will be about removing your gas tank. So there's a million reasons why you might want to do that. Usually it's to get to the wire race underneath. Anytime you're adding anything electrical, to do it clean and do it properly, you need to remove the gas tank. So we're going to go after that. Here we go. To give you a bit of confidence, you're not going to need too much in the way of tools. This comes off pretty easy just using your hands. We do need a ratchet with a Torx 40 to remove the bolts for the gas tank. And on my bike, you need a Phillips screwdriver to remove the seat. So we're going to remove the seat now. This is a 2014 Roadking, so it's really pretty simple to remove the seat. You just take the screw off in the back here. Flip open your bag and remove the screw that holds the strap down. Get the strap out of your way. I usually put those screws back just so I don't lose them. Kick them around the floor. And from there it's pretty simple. It's just hooked in the front, so just grab it by the back, lift it up, pull it out. Seat is off. Alright, now that we got that off, we've got two lines coming out of the tank. One is just like a vacuum line that just runs down, and you just pull that out. You just do that, just basically it runs down to the bottom. It's just an empty line. And then this one is your electrical line that feeds in here and connects to this connector. So you do need to take that loose, but it's just a simple pull apart connector. Let me pull it apart for you. Alright, there's a little plastic, let me get my hand out of the way here. Right here, there's a little plastic button down on top of it. I know it's really dark. It's a little plastic button right down on top of it. You just press down on that and pull it apart. Unfortunately, to make things clean, they've wire tied this cable, so I'm going to need to snip that wire tie right there. I'll have to get another one to put it back on to make it clean, but that's not too big a deal. Alright, so that's the part that stays with the bike. This is the part that came loose. There's a little cut wire tie in my hand. So just snip it. You're going to need a wire tie, so add that to your parts list if you don't have wire ties just sitting around your shop. Most people do, but just in case. Alright, so then we're going to remove, on the back of the tank, there's this bolt here and this bolt here. Those are both Torx 40s. And then there's two more on the front that I'll show you in a minute. This is a little difficult to see on a black bike. I'll take you back for some perspective here, but between the tank and your forks, straight in, there's a bolt here. It's covered with a rubber boot. I'm just going to keep it clean and quiet and that type of thing, but that boot just comes off. There you can see the bolt that you need to remove. Again, Torx 40. There's one of these on each side. They're exactly the same. So don't lose your boots. The boots probably are left and a right, so don't get those confused or that won't fit right. See the angle on it? So make sure you keep the left and the right separate, and you'll be good to go. One thing from the tool list I did add is that you can get in there without an extension, but I added an extension to my socket for my Torx 40 just to keep my handle away from the gas tank so I'm not scarring anything up. Alright, only one connection left, and it's the scariest one for most people. That's your fuel line. Okay, this is a quick connect, so this part here moves up and the black part pulls down, and there will be a little bit of gas leaking until you get the silver part pulled back down, which will seal off your gas. So you don't need to drain your gas, or you're not going to spill gas all over the place. I still, sorry for the bumpiness there, I still have a rag here I'm just going to put down below it just in case a little gas drips out, just to catch it. Alright, it's probably a mistake. I'm balancing the camera on my knee here while I'm doing this, but I'm going to pull up with the one hand and down with the other. And once this comes down, the gas stopped. I spilled just a little tiny bit on my hands and it'll spurt it out in what I saw, but not too bad. And that's the scariest part for most people is, you know, the electronics disconnection and the fuel disconnection. And it's really not a big deal. All right, one little thing I just found out, there is another cable under here that goes, I think this is probably for your fuel level. It goes up to your computer and that type of thing. So this one's going to need disconnected as well. It goes it's right underneath the tank, and it goes into your harness here. And again, it's just another quick disconnect. I'm just going to pull it apart. All right, so now that we've got that all unwired and unplugged, basically we just grab the front and the back. This has got fuel in it, probably 3/4 of a tank, so it's a little heavy. Just set it aside safely. So I think that's what scares most people is, you know, your bike looks pretty chopped down just to do something as simple as run a cable for a USB connection. It's the right way to do it though. You know, you could try to run a fish tape down through the back side of this and, you know, just have a wire laying on top, but you're gonna have the chance of it getting crushed or overheated. You know, this Raceway is designed to hold your wires, and it's really the best way to route something. So hopefully this has made you not afraid to pull your gas tank, and if you have, clean up some of those wires that you've already run improperly. All right, we're going to pull the race. It's also a good time to clean up some of those things you couldn't reach in the past. Let me show you this too, because the Raceway isn't quite as straightforward as what you thought. There's little tabs in each one of these holes. And basically, you just need to get behind it and pull up on it. That will release. We'll release that tab. Once you get it loose, you see all the wires under there, routed as they should be. Definitely want to inspect them, make sure you don't have any pressure damage or anything getting heated. Take a good look at them all, because while it's off, this would be the time to fix anything you got going on. Most of the time you're not going to mess with this though. So this is just a little kit I bought off the internet. It's got dual USB ports and cable to run back to connect to your battery. So inside the package we got two sections of wire. This obviously connects to the battery. I'm not going to be able to connect it to my switch, I don't believe. And then it's got the plug on it here. It's got a fuse already built in here. And then this will run from we'll mount this on the handlebars. This has got the two USB ports in it with a rubber cover so it stays dry. And we're going to mount that on the handlebars, and then we're going to run that cable back and connect it to this cable. That part's pretty easy. Alright, so now we need access to the battery. On the Roadking it's a little difficult because they kind of bury your battery down, but if you've ever changed your battery before, you already know this. You got your power engine control module here, so that's got a little clip right here. Just push that in, and that will unplug, and you can just kind of move that up out of the way like that. And this is your auxiliary. It's not being used on my bike for anything. I wish I could use it on this, although I think I'm going to use it for LEDs, so we're going to save that for later. And you've got these two bolts here holding the cover on to the magic of television. I've already busted those loose, so I'm just taking those off. They were tight. They're not just finger tight. And then that lifts off. Oops, power commander, put it back. that out of the way. And now we can connect the wires directly to the plus and minus of the battery. Okay, now I've routed the wire. You want to start so that this is mounted to your handlebars. Obviously, you don't want to affect your steering, so you need some slack there. You need to be able to go the full range of motion. And also, these should not be pointed straight up in the air like this, because even though it's got the rubber cover on it, you don't want rain and things to get down in it. The cover may not last forever, so definitely want to mount them so that they're horizontal. And then I'm going to run the cable, down through my opening here where the rest of my wires go. Fed it down through here, so I'm going to run it right along here, all the way back to the battery, and we'll plug it into its other half. Alright, so I've made that connection here, and that's just going to go down inside the battery chamber. I'm actually going to wrap a piece of tape around the junction, even though it's a pretty waterproof junction. We don't want any wetness, so I'm just going to wrap a piece of electrical tape around there just for backup. And I did take and plug a USB cable in and checked it just to make sure that it worked before I tie all this down, and it does. That's my claim to fame, is I usually finish the job, test it, and then I have to tear it all back apart, but it does work. Test it before you button everything back up. All right, it's installed. We're going to now just tighten everything back down. All right, so we're just reversing the process. I put the battery cover back on. Put all the wires down on their way. Now this is my new wire coming in. And power commander back on. We still got this that we have to connect to the wire that's in the gas tank. And I put the race back on. There's our little USB port mounted now. And next we'll put the gas tank back on, which basically just lift it back in place, connect the wires, run the overflow tube or the vacuum tube back down, and put the screws back in. Alright, so I've got the gas tank set back in place. I've reconnected the wires and run the vacuum tube back down. It just basically has to go down straight towards the ground. There's no real magic to that. I do have a Roadking, which doesn't have a lot of electronics on it. If you've got a bigger touring bike, Ultra or something with a lot of, any one of the glides with a lot of electronics and radio and stuff, you're going to have more wires, more gauges and such. So there will actually be a second connection. It'll be a white one. So this one's a black plug, so you'll have that. There'll be a white one just like it. So you have two instead of one, but that's really the only difference. All right, we're going to put these two screws back in here. Got the holes lined up. And then we'll move to the front. Just a reminder to save you some time. These front holes, are very specific where the bolts go in. The back holes are slotted. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's a slot there so that you can move the gas tank forward and back. So make sure you get all four bolts started before you tighten down the back ones. Otherwise, you might need to slide the gas tank and you won't be able to. All right, so here's the wrap up. We went through all that to get this little box hooked onto the handlebars so we could run a 3-foot cable, less than a 3-foot cable, over to the phone. But when you're riding and you're going in and out of wilderness areas and you're losing your signal all the time, your phone just eats up the battery. So it really is safe and helpful to have a USB port mounted on your bike. And I know a lot of newer bikes that come with them already built in, but old school guys like me that ride a Roadking or people with older bikes, they don't have that. So it's worth the time. This was a 1-hour project. Seems like a lot to mount that little thing, but it was done right and it's worth it. I'm the biker. I'm out.